Can you tell me your opinion on my writing process? Newbie here.
Now that I have the set that I'm working with, I can go through it, but make it not sound like they're jokes.
I have a theory. This is why comics get stuck telling the same jokes. Everything is digital now. Everybody had notebooks. When I started,
you had to chisel your set list in stone.
put everything out as you're learning.
Yeah.
To me is shooting yourself in the foot because now people think you suck. Everything you're putting out is mid.
That's why you have to pay to see that I suck.
Sometimes you love it and sometimes you hate it, ladies and gentlemen, in these comedy screens. In these comedy screens, screeting it up. Screet niggas screeting it up. Yeah, week to week, Dante and myself find something, a topic or whatever people are talking about in the world of comedy online, and we give our 2 cents. This week is no different. I did look at other places, but once again, we are back on Reddit. What a shock. On the stand-up board. This was posted by Hot Oatmeal. Can you move the mouse? Thank you, just for a clean shot. Can you tell me your opinion on the writing adding words much? Can you tell me your opinion on my writing process? Newbie here, very new to comedy. I have a ton of jokes and am about to move to the city where stand-up/open mics are more accessible. Currently, all my jokes are in my phone. I am just starting to get into formal writing. I bought a notebook and write about 10 jokes, sometimes more, on a topic that I liked and think is funny. Then, when I write out how my set would look, it turns into big block paragraphs. I time myself and punchlines are paced about 10 to 20 seconds apart, but I literally have so much on baseball, for example, that I could easily hit 10 minutes on just that topic. Could I go to an open mic and talk about baseball for 5 minutes? Sure, but I feel like I would want to try my bigger hitting jokes on a broad range of topics at an open mic. Should I be focused on these big hitters and writing?
Even talks in baseball.
Should I be focused on these big hitters and writing? Should I be focused on these big hitters and be writing intentionally for open mic? Bro, that hurt my brain. Anyways, or continue my big block approach for longer sets. I don't know if I'm making sense. No. But
he's making sense.
He's making sense, but your typing is less is more. But would love to clarify if any of you have any questions. Can you tell me your opinion on my writing process? You're doing too much. That's my personal opinion. But I'm of the camp of I write on stage. Mm-hmm. I've documented this. Like I have the ideas. I jot the ideas down. Now it's almost like small paragraphs. I'll get the whole joke out with the title to remind myself, try it on stage, and that's where the writing and editing.
You know, I was just thinking about like that process that you're doing. And I think even doing that for me would get me more comfortable on like veering the path. Because what you're basically doing is you're looking for the path on stage.
Yes, I get what you're saying. Because I have the destination.
Exactly.
I write down the punch or the really funny aspects of the joke.
But you don't know how you're going to get there.
I don't know how I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
I just figured that out. Well, so you have an idea and you write it all out and then you tell it verbatim? Do you try and stick to as close to your notes as possible?
Well, because now my notes aren't, because before I would write it out word for word.
Yeah.
But I don't do that.
Bar for bar, my whole flow.
Yeah. But now I don't do that. So now it's like, I literally just have like the title of the joke.
Yeah.
And then I know the beats of the joke.
Yes.
Right? But what you're doing is you know the punchline, but you're just like, okay, well, this is the topic. Now, how do I did it?
Well, it's been refined because over time, it's weird because I can only really kind of describe what my process is now. But what my process is now is my brain fully forms the thing out before I even get to the phone. Mm-hmm. Whereas before I would have to, like, this is all trial and error. I'm like, okay, I want to remember this joke. Give it a title first.
Yeah.
That's where that started from. But now that's just like, now my brain is just locked in. Here's a good title. Like, that's why you're always hearing me be like, Mark, that's the title for the episode.
Yeah.
because that's my comedy brain working. That's a good title for
Yep.
this.
And I was even talking to some people in the workshop, and it's kind of like same thing, where they're like, "Oh yeah, I come up with the premise, and then I just go up on stage and I write out figure out 75% of the joke on stage."
That's exactly.
Yeah.
And I actually think, like, I prefer that so much more because the meat of the joke will always be the meat of the joke.
Mhm.
But when you get into that framework of joke telling and writing, you're tailoring everything for the people you're in front of,
Yeah,
which makes it so much more personal.
exactly.
I'm like, nothing annoys me personally more than when I'm standing at the back of a club and I'm like, joke, 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 joke. Like they're just working through a list.
Yeah,
You think
which
the
is
audience?
what I'm doing?
Do you think the audience can't pick up on that cadence? Like again, it's like you're newer, so it's not even like
Yeah.
I'm saying this as a negative thing.
No, I know,
you know,
but it's
but
a
like,
thing.
but if I'm picking up on it,
Yeah,
I guess I'm a comic, so maybe I have a little more insight as to it. But
Yeah.
when it's really obvious, I think it's really obvious to everybody in the room.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I'm even working on. Like I was thinking about this on my drive home yesterday,
Yeah.
because like, okay, now that I have the set that I'm working with,
Mm-hmm.
I can go through it, but make it not sound like they're jokes.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I just want to be just kind of,
Because you know them so in and out.
Exactly. So now like I'm, step by step practice saying them for a couple of months. Now it's like, now I'm working on the how am I gonna say it?
You know, I think that what you just described to me, I have a theory. This is why comics get stuck telling the same jokes. Because once you like, and you see it, man, like once you're in the game long enough,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really see a lot of people working on like maybe the newer breed is a little different, but at least like when I was coming up,
Yeah.
a lot of the older cats were just like telling the same set
Yeah.
that they've like built up over time.
Mm-hmm.
And I catch myself like getting into that rut every once in a while. I'm like, if I catch myself telling the same thing over and over, like even for me, I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I'm like, I'm getting in the mode of comfort. Like, that's why for the comedy recap, when I said to Jeremy, I'm like, I'm doing something I don't like to do, but I'm doing all old established stuff.
Yeah.
Like, because that's literally going against the grain for myself. It's almost like I looked at it and structured a set list. But even then, it was still me, so I was able to friggin' spend 5 to 7 minutes just on the audience.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think this is a process that you just have to do and figure out. To me, this is way too much.
Yeah. Is this sustainable? Like how long can you do that for?
But everybody, when they're new, this is what you think to do. Oh, I can't even. When I started, yes, but we're not. Everything is digital now. Everybody had notebooks. When
Yeah.
I started, you walked around in the club.
Didn't exist back then.
Old niggas. We all old niggas.
You had to chisel your set list in stone.
And then, like, I remember getting a BlackBerry. That's when I started jotting notes in my phone.
Yeah.
And it kind of changed the dynamic. I'm not going to lie, though. I really need to force myself to write these jokes down now in a book.
Yeah.
Because there's still an aspect of that I love and cherish and I think is important.
Yeah.
Because there's something to memory, too.
Yeah.
When
because
you're writing
using your
and
hands.
bingo,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I remember things way better, and like I just want a clean record of like some of the best versions of these things because they change, as like
Yeah.
I said, from crowd to crowd and room to room. Even though
So how would you document that change, like in the book? Like
that's what I'm saying.
Would you go back and like circle this and be like, okay?
No,
take
there would
this
be
out
one
or-
definitive version I would put in the book.
Oh, so once it's fleshed out, you put that.
Then
in
I
the
know which one is my best favorite version.
book. Okay.
And just to have that documented,
Okay, I get what you're saying.
like I even want to go. I'm planning this, but I'm gonna go back to like the beginning. I found a bunch of my joke books and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to document like all the ones that have been my bangers,
Oh,
like
okay.
over time.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that I don't know. You just kind of have a scattered collection of
Yeah.
friggin' books, but I want to have like one,
Yeah.
like
One Bible.
exactly like my comedy Bible.
Yeah.
Um,
Right now you have got the book of Paul and the book of.
They're just
Enoch,
scattered.
They're just
People
all
are
over
gonna
the
find my
place.
papyrus like
Yeah,
just
Dead Sea
random
Scrolls.
Yeah, Black Sue's Dead Sea Scrolls. Oh man. But yeah, that's my. You want to read some of these comments?
Sure, it's not a lot, but just go on stage and start performing.
Bingo.
Yeah. The fact that you're writing things down at all is good. Carrying a notebook is good. Making notes in your phone when you don't have a notebook handy is good. Being willing to get the note made and kept for later, no matter how, is gonna mean you get to keep a lot more material. True.
Mhm.
Hedberg's joke about the pen being too far away and convincing himself it wasn't funny is absolutely true.
That joke is so gangbusters. That joke, oh man, Hedberg, bro, we lost.
But you're seriously overthinking this. You don't need to write intentionally for a mic. You need to go to a mic and say the words into a microphone until you get the light and then stop saying words. Get a phone tripod so you can record your sets. I think that's also an important thing.
Watch, review.
Watch it like tape. That's what I do. I watch my sets like tape. And then I say, oh, I made this face here. People laugh.
I like the distinction you did, like right at the end. So you can record your sets, but don't put them online yet. Review them.
Yeah.
That's what I've said this before.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like comics are shooting themselves in the foot because like everything is content. I got to get clips and clips and clips, right?
Yeah.
So they just post all their you're new, bro.
Yeah. But I will say, right, I post my sets online, but they're not public. They're behind a paywall. So it's, for me, it's like a documentation thing because I can now go back.
Yeah, no, you're not making reels and content out of your...
I made a few. Like, I'm not even gonna lie.
And
but
you're gonna use the ones that you have like funny moments and stuff, of course.
But
to put everything out as you're learning, to me is shooting yourself in the foot because now people think you suck. Everything you're putting out is mid.
That's why you have to pay to see that I suck. You had to pay $4.20 a month.
Shout out to the half-baked kid, baby. The 420 champ up in this piece.
But yeah, don't put them online and review them. You know, like I think that's you can get more.
To me, wait, let me read this one. To me, a fellow beginner seems like incredible advice. Literally, the first thing I wrote in my notebook that at the time I thought was stupid and unfunny is like the penultimate punchline of by far my best bit. And he's commenting on being willing to get the note made and kept for later, no matter how, is going to mean you get to keep a lot more material. When I read that, I thought of the Seinfeld episode. Like he put the Hedberg example in there, but there's a whole episode of Seinfeld where he's trying to remember a joke. He wakes up from a dream and writes it on a napkin, but it's all like he's in his sleep.
You know, I do have a bunch of those notes.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I get into like this meditative state before I go to sleep. And if I go in with a writing mind, jokes will start to appear. And my phone is always on the other side of the room.
So you keep like a pen and a pad?
No, I get up and I walk over and I make sure, like, you want to take comedy serious? Get out of bed at 4 a.m.
I do that, yeah.
And
I haven't done that in a long time.
Write it down.
I am most creative right before I sleep and right when I wake up.
Yeah.
Super creative, like this.
Because you're in
that's where I get my editing mode.
You're in that space, you know. You're not fully dreaming, but you're not fully awake.
I did like 4 days worth of editing this morning.
Sick.
And I just cranked it all out because it's just like you're in that flow state, like you said. I think that's gonna do it.
I've seen a guy do 5 minutes on baseball.
You might end up keeping a minute of it.
Yeah.
Until I work a joke multiple times at different mics, I don't really know how or where I want to keep it. Thank you. Thank you. Come again.
Hey, it's Hen Dog.
Black Zeus the Podcast Season 6, featuring Black Zeus and Dante, aka Black Zeus on YouTube, Patreon, and Instagram.